MAV's Coffee Clarity with Denise is brought to you in partnership with Drive Media and Consulting and their premier sponsors. Subscribe on your favorite streaming platforms and share. If you just found us, welcome. And if you're a regular, welcome back. Denise DiGregoli has spent her life in the creative industries as an entrepreneur, helping people transform their visions into thriving businesses, working with individuals and teams to find their purpose and live their life vibrantly. On her pod, Denise delivers business intel and life hacks with wit and wisdom in short shots like a strong espresso with a solid sense of humor. Enjoy this episode of MAV's Coffee Clarity, and here's MAV.
Welcome, my friends. That's right. You're on MAV's Coffee Clarity with Denise. We're a show designed to move you forward in work, life, and self-care. And come on, who doesn't need that nowadays? If you just found me, welcome. And if you're a newbie, we're so grateful you're here. And if you're a regular, welcome back, my friends. You know, we spill the beans on business intel and life hacks with creatives, entrepreneurs, forward thinkers, doers. So wherever you are in the world, have a seat. You can find us on YouTube and wherever you find your favorite pods. Now, MAV's Coffee Clarity is a weekly show. However, we have responded to your requests based on the fact that you've learned over the past year that I have worked with my husband, a.k.a. The Fox, see episode 000, on this monthly segment called Ask MAV and The Fox. If you want to know why we call him The Fox, you got to go back to 000 for this monthly segment. But the real spill in the beans here is we have lived and worked together for 25 plus years. And no one can even believe it, my friends. They cannot believe it.
I can't believe it.
You can't believe it. Hey, and we just made it through another Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Oh, thank you.
It was a very nice day.
It was fun. We went to see Billy Gibbons of ZZ Top.
Billy Gibbons, ZZ Top, ripped it up.
You know, you got to have fun wherever you're working. You got to play too. Anyway, so what came out of last year's entire season was, hey, how is it that you actually stay funny? I don't know if I'm that funny, and work with your spouse, and you're in family business, and you're doing whatever. So we're bringing this monthly segment together to answer your questions. So we're diving in here on episode 2 of the monthly segment. So there'll be 12 this year. And there might be some special live guest appearances of the Fox, not the Facts. Well, the Facts, yes, the Fox and MAV. We're going to do some quarterly live events, but let's not get our cart ahead of our horse. For today, my friend.
Yes.
Today's
question.
Today's question is, let me take a sip. How rude of me. Okay. The question is coming in from a couple in Boston, and that's kind of fun because we have studios in Massachusetts and Connecticut. Yep. We're shaping ideas boldly from the 203 to the 413, so this one hit home.
Being in the 413 today.
We're in the 413.
Up here in the Berkshires in the frigid cold weather.
You can kind of see the sun if you're watching us on YouTube. Barely. And the snow right outside the window. Okay, we're in our Mass studios. First of all, I love your show. Well, thank you for saying that. I appreciate that, and it's with people like you that have helped shape it to where it is today. You bring so much fun and honest take on working together as a couple. Well, we like to believe we're honest, for sure. My husband, Matt, and I live in Boston, recently launched a business about a year ago, a custom woodworking business specializing in handcrafted furniture and decor, writes Linda. We're passionate about our work, but we've hit a roadblock in decision-making. Oof. Matt has
decision-making roadblock.
Yeah, here we go.
Business.
Matt has a background in manufacturing, and he now focuses in on the craftsmanship and perfection of the pieces he's building. Often a single piece will take him hours, which sometimes creates delays. Oh, we know about that, being in the custom art business. I come out of corporate sales and marketing and handle the business side. Sounds like somebody knows us pretty well. Marketing, pricing, and profitability. And I worry we're losing too much margin, money, not to mention momentum by not working efficiently. How do you both balance your creativity and business practicality without either person feeling like they're always compromising? That's a steep one. Have you ever faced a similar challenge, and how did you work through it? Well,
yes.
we can tell you yes, because 25 plus years, we're still here to answer the question. Okay.
Well, we made it through the roadblock, but we definitely hit the roadblocks, especially in the beginning.
Yeah.
But
Beginnings are full of compromise, wouldn't you say? Whether you're in a new relationship, a new business, a new job, a new anything, don't you think there's compromise there? I mean, we definitely felt it.
Yeah, I think there's a need for compromise, and that's part of the problem sometimes is you kind of have to both compromise. In this situation, it sounds like that is probably part of an issue that's going on, that you need to make sure that you're compromising. You're not just thinking about your side or the other. So
yeah, I believe that we had.
I think one of the problems we had was in the beginning was
that you interrupted me. Is that what it was?
Learning how to compromise.
Yeah,
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, but you did, and you've been doing it for 25 years now. All right. Anyways, yes, I think you have to have a sense of humor. That's the first thing. And I think that when you're working together with anybody, but in our case, family-owned business, and in Matt and Linda's case, you got to have a sense of humor. And you have to have, I would say, review your common values. I know that sounds trite, like some educational marketing exercise, but I think what made us successful is we always had the same values. We came from two very different schools of thought, two very different backgrounds in terms of work experience. But we saw each other's strengths.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I always felt like I was compromising my ass off. And I was not comfortable with this word.
Are you sure about that?
I was compromising my ass off 24/7, 365. But I also think that, in fairness, coming to the table as a strong woman, and then also feeling sort of those legacy of thoughts, right? Ladies are there to run the behind the scenes, at least the way I grew up. Women are there to take care of the children and make sure they're in good. And those are more so I would tell you, Linda, look at any self-imposed restrictions or old beliefs you brought to the table, so that you don't feel so much compromised, but look at compromise the way Troy or Fox just started off by saying, compromising can be a good thing. Don't look at it as a bad thing. And I definitely was looking at it like, boy, I'm getting shafted.
All right. Well, probably that's what you were thinking. I think another route to it is that when you start a business together, and gosh, when you're a couple starting a business together, I think this builds on this kind of theory of mine, which is you're subconsciously or consciously so concerned about showing the other person that you're capable
good point
of doing a business together.
You're flexing. Were you flexing, babe? Were you flexing?
It's not even flexing so much as it is saying, look, what I'm doing is legitimate. Like if you're the creative person, it's like, look, what I'm doing is legitimate. It's not all dollars and cents.
It's important.
It's important. And then the person doing the dollars and cents side of it and the marketing and so on is saying, hey, that's great, but we got to keep the wood in the fire. Yeah, there's a business to run. So that's where the compromising thought comes in, where maybe you're not so much compromising on your values or compromising. Like, I don't think you and I compromised on our values.
No, absolutely not. Never.
You have to just compromise on hearing the other person.
I wasn't always good at listening, Linda. I'm going to tell you the truth.
Yeah, Linda, she wasn't. But listen, I was.
And nor you.
Neither
you
was
Virgo'd down.
I mean, I was.
You were.
Yeah, this isn't all.
And we didn't ask how old you were, and we are about roasting ageism on Mav's Coffee Clarity. But I think, in my case, I'll speak for me, even though I like to speak for others at times. Said no one ever again. I feel like I had a certain amount of salt I brought to the table as a successful businesswoman, and we got together older in life, typically older. Now it's much more in vogue to get together older or not get together at all in terms of marriage. But we got together in our late 30s, so we came to the table with some experience, right? So we don't know how old you guys are. If you're 22, I might answer the question a little bit differently than when we started off at 38. Would you answer it differently based on age?
I don't think I would answer it differently on age. I think, you know, coming to it with experience can be good, and it can have its burdens as well, because when you both come in with your own separate experiences.
Were you compromised? That's what Linda wants to know.
Well,
Did you compromise your creativity? I am talking over you right now.
See?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I think that when you come into the game with a lot of experience from either side, then you kind of feel like you have to kind of show your experience, and and you can become a little headstrong. Like, especially when you're dealing with two people.
That's why he has no hair, because he's headstrong and his follicles released.
When you have a person that's doing a creative part of a business, and then you have a person that's coming from corporate background.
But I came from a creative corporate background.
I know, but
let's not act like I came from finance or law.
No, I know that. But still, nonetheless, when you're a pure creative person, and then and I'm not really reflecting on you directly, by the way. I'm just saying.
Well, this is a show about MAV and the Fox, just to note to you.
Right, but I'm also trying to answer the question universally, right? So if you are coming from two different sides of the tracks, I lost my train of thought.
All right, I'm going to pick it up for you. That's where partnership comes in, because having been together, we almost read each other's minds. I think what you're saying is you have to have respect for each other's backgrounds.
Yes.
You have to be okay flexing your, whatever you bring to the table, but also okay listening. And maybe the question of, were we compromised? Absolutely. I mean, I think you're compromised. And when you're in relationship with anyone, now let's just go to a personal, you're compromised when you say, well, I want to go to Italy. No, I want to go to Greece. There's a compromise there, right? So when you're starting off building your business and you come with the creative woodwork, she's saying her partner is doing so much work on these custom pieces that he's losing track of time, and there's causing delays. So that's a functional thing, right? That's a functional thing. And then she's saying, okay, because of that functional thing, I'm worried we're losing money. I guess the question is, are you really losing money?
Yeah.
Are you really losing efficiency? Only you two can determine that in your business. What is efficient in your business? One piece a month, one piece a week.
Right. So that kind of brings it around to, all right, so you have to compromise. So that's part of the solutions. Make sure that you're compromising on things. Make sure that you're communicating. But let's talk about the actual nuts and bolts of, are you really losing money? Or are you just, no disrespect intended, or are you just kind of sitting in the office thinking, God, this is taking too long. We need to get more of these done quicker. Maybe that's not really the case. Maybe everything is fine, but maybe it's the interpretation of the marketing. Look, there's that old
I feel like, Linda, that was directed right at me. I'm not sitting in the office saying we need more, although I can do that.
I didn't say you.
Yeah, right.
I didn't say. See, everybody, this is what.
How do we balance creativity? We have to laugh it off and have a very strong coffee. Very strong coffee.
So we have a solution here, because there's that kind of old mantra that the salespeople never understand the production people, and vice versa. So I don't know if they still do this, but I remember back in the day, so to speak, when there was UPS was kind of like the delivery service outside of the general mail.
Right.
And I believe it went that if you were an office person, if you were going to be like an executive for UPS or work in the administrative side, they made you go out and drive around with a driver for like a week so that you understood what the driver had to do every single day. while he was out on the road, instead of being in the office just making decisions.
Barking your orders.
Right. They need to do faster. They need to do this. They need to do that. Well, go out and drive with a driver for a while so you understand it. So I think that kind of comes into play. And that's more what I mean. Like when you're, and I'm not reflecting this directly at you.
But he could be. So just heads up.
I could be. But I think that it's really important for both sides of the business to understand what each side does. So maybe
Linda has to build a piece of furniture.
Look, I don't know the depth of their relationship and how much they know about what each other is doing, but I know one thing: they're in a new business together, and they probably don't completely understand what each other has to do every day to make the business really work as a solid unit. So hold on. So maybe that's one thing. So they understand by maybe Linda going out and working with Matt for a little bit and learning like the steps are. It's like with you and I, it's like, you don't know everything that, especially in the beginning, like you didn't know everything that went into restoring a painting.
No.
Right. And
it is fascinating.
And, so to kind of sit back and observe and see the before and after and say, wow, that's really awesome. But you don't know really what, the hours.
What did you not know about the girl in the marketing office? I'm curious about that. Like, what did you learn when you stepped over into the marketing office?
I knew it all.
You knew it all? Mm-hmm. There's the compromise, Linda and Matt. Ah, okay.
No, I didn't know it all. But I think that, I don't know what I didn't know because I had a lot of management background behind me as well. So I kind of did know what goes on in the office because I had some of that experience in my pre-career to us going into business. But, you learn a lot regardless. When you go into business for yourself, you learn a lot of things that you didn't really know when you were working for other people. It doesn't matter how much you knew or didn't know. When you get out on your own, you're out on your own and there's no parachute.
No, there's no parachute.
So just trying to find solutions for that situation based on things we went through. I mean, the hair used to really fly sometimes with us. Yeah. And I think part of that was, it's the compromise thing and all that, but it's also just kind of learning the process. And then, look, you have to sit down and hammer out your costs and all of your costs and your production time for whatever you're making. They're making furniture, it probably takes, a certain amount of time to build one type of furniture compared to another. Are you charging appropriate for it? So that you're making sure that you're making money. Because the reality is, you can say we need to do this 10-hour process in 5 hours to make money, but if it's impossible to do that, it's impossible to do that unless you're, so you also have to not be afraid to really look at your hard costs and what your timelines are. Don't, there's saying that you always like to use a lot, under promise and over deliver. You have to kind of learn how to do that, I think, with your projects too. Yeah. So, maybe you got to make your lead times longer. And if you produce them sooner, then you don't have the customer service issue. But it sounds like they're still kind of hashing out, I feel like we need to do this quicker because we're losing momentum and we're not making enough money.
Well, I feel like that's her thing. But the one thing I also want to answer is balance your creativity, like we started off. If you're working together with someone, and this would go even in corporate team environments, there's a reason why they have off-day retreat days and team building exercises. So what do you do in family business? You go to the Billy Gibbons concert, or you find time to ski, or whatever it is you guys do that you like together and separate to refuel your creativity. I think that's really important. Over the course of our lifetime, we really appreciated each other's side creativity habits, and we started to enjoy each other's. Like, I learned to ski from Troy. I would never consider myself athletic enough to ski. Started skiing at 47. So I think you have to find things to refuel your creativity that you do together and you do separately. Troy plays guitar. I don't do any of that. I do stand-up comedy. So I feel kind of like...
And you do artwork.
And I do my artwork. I'm back connected.
Kind of cool pieces.
You're not talking about my artwork right now. I'm going to talk about my artwork. You've just talked a good 5 minutes now. Let me look at the time. Yeah. Anyways, yes, back to what I was saying, Linda and Matt, and about business practicality, I think it's okay for one of you to have more of one thing and one of you to have less of the other thing, because then you come together like a puzzle piece, right? I cannot restore a painting. There's certain things on maybe the bookkeeping side, maybe not the bookkeeping side, but maybe on some of the technical computer design stuff that I do that maybe you don't do, or dealing with,
Well, you're definitely the techie.
I'm the
Of our
techie. Oh, I
business.
hate even that word. But I'm also the lady that renegotiates every legal contract and every insurance. And, there's certain things, and this is true in all the people I've learned from over the years. There's going to be parts of your business that you hate doing. You just hate it, but you got to do it. And I think that's like with any job, right? I don't like cleaning my house either, but I got to do it. So, or somebody's got to do it. So, maybe that wasn't the best example, but when you hit a roadblock in decision making, I think what I would say is, hold on now. You've already got into your cost analysis. Before you get into choice cost analysis and breaking down how to charge and looking, what I always tell the business clients I coach right now is, in an ideal world, I'll give you an example. I had a friend that started a pet store business about 10 years ago. And when they were starting that pet store business, I said, what kind of income do you want to pull from this store? And it was a retail store with no online presence. What kind of income do you need, first of all, to survive? And what kind of income do you want to pull? And look back from that. So before they get into the cost analysis, guys got to decide on how much it is you need to live and where do you want to take this business, i.e. a business plan. And we loosely had a business plan that we followed. We had retail stores, we had art galleries, and we made a huge decision in 2015 to refactor into straight art restoration. So those were calculated risks that had a business plan. So when it comes to roadblock and decision making, I think you got to stay ahead of your business plan. I remember when we were first together and we had a SCORE business advisor, he said, "What's the exit strategy?" And no one wanted to hear that. We're newly married. What do you mean exit strategy?
Yeah, that's like writing your will.
Right. But, every good business plan says, well, what happens if this doesn't work? And hopes that you never even have to get to that page. So that's the art of compromise. I think it's communication. I'm leading. The answer to this question is, how did we balance creativity, business practicality without feeling compromised? I think we always communicated.
Yeah, communication's always the key.
I think you might have yelled more than me.
I'm sure everybody knows I'm the yeller out of the two of us.
You were yelling nonstop.
No, that's a really good point. I would always say, if you don't have a business plan, make one for sure, and don't get caught up on feeling like it has to be perfect. One thing
that's a good point.
For years before, like, we started our business, I used to sit down and write business plans, and I used to get so hung up on, is this the right thing to put down? Am I committing too much? Am I not committing enough? And, all that sort of thing. And, just write out, even if it's loose, write out a plan if you don't have one. And if you do have one, and after you write one, or if you do have one, always revert back to your business plan.
And edit, pivot, be agile.
Just say, be willing, it's not cast in stone for the rest of your business career. Business plans, companies change their business plans all the time because you have to kind of adapt. So, and when you're starting on your own, you have to adapt. What you thought might work maybe doesn't work so good, and you have to kind of change it around a little bit and adjust it. So I would say, Matt and Linda, you guys should have, communication meetings, discuss things when you're making decisions. And you're mentioning getting stuck on when you have trouble making decisions. There's a great process that you can use for making decisions called the Benjamin T. And this is a simple thing. And I know I've done this.
He always whips this out of his pocket when I'm really stuck. He's like, let's do the Benjamin T.
Yeah, well.
All right, what is it, babe? Rip it.
Benjamin T was developed by Benjamin Franklin.
Before I get teed off.
So the tail goes. But it is kind of a really, really simple thing. And you'd think everybody would just know to do this, but you don't, you don't.
What is it, babe? What is it? Just get to it.
Simply sit down with a piece of paper and write a T.
As in Troy?
As in Troy, yes. As in Troy. Write a T and take your question that you're trying to solve and put on the left side of the T, the positives, and on the right side of the T, the negatives, and or the benefits and the burdens, or however you want to dictate the plus and minus of each side of the T, and write down what if we do this, what are the benefits, and write the benefits. And if we don't do this, what are the burdens? And it will give you kind of a black and white, dry answer to your question. Like, what should we do? And you might get an answer that you don't really, maybe you really wanted to do it,
truth
but
be
it's telling you
told,
don't do it. So
we've done this for years on many things. The Benjamin T.
The Benjamin T.
I'm going to start to call it the Benjamin Troy.
Good.
Just out of this meeting today alone, I'm like Benjamin.
I'll take any
You're
credit
gonna take the
I can
credit.
get. So
All right.
I will
All right.
take
So
that.
wrapping it up, Linda and Matt, listen, don't stress. Think about your relationship first.
Can I say one thing?
Do you have to? We're trying to wrap it up. Gosh, go ahead. And, his middle name is Wind, as in long-winded. No one would ever know. Go ahead, my friend.
I am the quiet one.
Jeez, you get on the microphone. I can't even get him off on time. Go ahead, my friend.
I think it's really important to remember this, is that you're doing something that's creative. It's a craft. You're building something from scratch. It sounds like you're making this furniture. I would imagine it's probably like, really cool stuff. If you're building furniture and you're not just buying it from some manufacturer and reselling it, if you're building it yourself, a lot goes into that. And I'm sure the quality is a huge reflection of the success of your product. So first and foremost, don't forgive the quality of your work. If you need to find faster methods to do it, fine, but don't substitute quality for we need to make more money. You'll make the money. If you're building a really quality product, if you're doing something of great skill and really good design and quality, it will come. You just have to get there, but don't forgive your quality, because that can kind of sink you.
And I will say, as the other side of that coin, you can always find a way to reduce expenses, whether you're shopping for a new cell phone bill, or you go out to dinner one last time, or you hit Marshall's one less time this month. There's always a way to make ends meet. And when there isn't, trust me, we started off with very, very little in the till. And we did it together, one client, one success, one overly exhausted conversation at a time. Right. I think that I end with, we got to listen to each other, and we have to be respectful enough to really listen and not be stuck in being right, which sometimes I have to be honest. I like to be right. Right.
You absolutely like to be right.
I like to be right.
You do. I like to be right too.
I mean, I think
it's a human I think it's a human character. It's a trait.
There's two sides of the fence. There's love or hate. Always go for the love, my friends. You've been on Mav's Coffee Clarity with Denise, and this was a special segment, episode 2 of Ask Mav and the Fox.
And the Fox.
Oh yeah, don't forget the Fox.
I got a reminder. The Fox is here.
Keep those questions coming in. You can visit Denise-this.com and throw that question right in the contact form, or find us on social, Instagram, Substack, YouTube. Peace out, my friends. Mav and the Fox have got to get back to work.
Peace, bud.
Hey, that's a wrap for today, my friends. Thanks for listening, subscribing, and staying connected with me. Head on over to Denise-this.com and learn a little bit more about my creative and strategic consulting services. While you're there, drop your name on the contact page. Sign up for my bi-weekly brew. It's fresh ideas delivered to your inbox a couple times a month for clarity, creativity, and better communication. It's based on my 3 decades as an entrepreneur, helping other people and businesses move forward. It's great business intel and life hacks that you can use for work, life, and self-care. And come on, who doesn't need that nowadays? Have a great rest of your day. Peace out, my friends. Mav has got to get back to work.